pounding targets in Libya, President Obama is now coming under fire for taking military action because he did not ask for congressional approval beforehand. So isn't this what President Bush went through in 2003 with the invasion of Iraq? And are there other similarities? Joining us now is Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson.
Good morning.
Jr.
Hi. It's developing now, Ellie, and we have to see whether this becomes President Obama's Iraq. You know, we recall Colin Powell going to the United Nations talking about weapons of mass destruction, and then the announcement by President Bush that there was going to be an invasion, and then the invasion of Iraq itself. So when I looked at the Tomahawk missiles being fired over the weekend, I said, is this, in fact, the new Iraq? And so what the United States is now pursuing is a policy called R2P.
What's that?
Responsibility to protect. It was passed in the United Nations in 2005, and we believe that we have a humanitarian mission in the world to go forward and to protect people who are victims of genocide or atrocities or victimization by their non-sovereign governments. But it creates issues. Has the President complied with the War Powers Act of 1973 in terms of consultation? Are we entering into a quagmire here that we can't get out of? Is this really a few days?
As the President has said, that it really will just be a few days, but President Bush thought it was going to be short-lived as well in Iraq, as you may remember.
Absolutely. And so we have this moral imperative to engage in kind of a militarized humanitarianism. There's kind of a progressive imperialism. And I think the President is saying, oh, okay, this is where the neoconservatives and the Obama people meet, in the middle.
And let me tell you what House Speaker John Boehner said, similar to this. Here's his statement from this weekend. The United States has a moral obligation to stand with those who seek freedom from oppression and self-government for their people. The President is the Commander-in-Chief, but the administration has a responsibility to define for the American people, the Congress, and our troops what the mission in Libya is. President Obama has said that the mission is to protect civilians and to take out the air defenses.
What is the mission? What is really the mission? I mean, the American people are not really for this intervention. Is the mission regime change against the madman of the Mideast, a person who is an acknowledged terrorist, a killer, a murderer, or is it a humanitarian mission? Now, the truth is, Operation Odyssey Dawn started somehow in the beginning of March. It was announced by the Department of Defense in the beginning of March in a totally humanitarian fashion. Now we are in our third war in a Muslim country. And so I think Gaddafi is a master manipulator, a great molder of opinion and the press. And so we need to be very careful that the United States is not perceived as oppressing the Muslim people of the world. This is the challenge the President faces. The challenge the President faces is getting out in and out quickly and actually taking Gaddafi down without saying that he's going to take Gaddafi down.
It's a tall order, obviously, and you've spelled it out so well. Peter Johnson, Jr., thanks so much for coming in with your analysis.
Okay.